Hey up! Hello everyone, how's it going? My name is Gavin Strange. Welcome to the stream. It's Friday afternoon, it's bank holiday weekend here in the UK. I hope everyone is feeling good. It's lovely seeing people in the chat. Welcome everyone. Welcome to new people. Katie, I know you're new to Twitch, so we hope you enjoy today's stream. I'm really excited about today's stream. It is something that is very close to my heart and it's a project that I've been fortunate to have been involved in over the years as this project has grew and grew. But what I want to do today is talk about a project called Gromit Unleashed that happened in 2013, 7 years ago, which feels like 400 centuries ago in the time that we're in now. So I'm really excited to tell you about my involvement in this bonkers, beautiful, wonderful, touching, important project. Before we jump in, what have I got to tell you? Not a lot, I don't think. I've been back streaming. I was away last week, so did a couple of streams this week. Was doing some illustrator work in the den late last night, and it was lovely having people coming to join us. So if you're new to Twitch, I generally try and stream twice on lunchtime, sort of an hour-ish on lunchtimes, and then one evening as I'm working on something. One stream tends to be hopefully an inspirational thing, which is sharing other people's work or just stuff that I love, and another one tends to be my creative process or projects or breaking down things that I've been fortunate enough to be involved in, and then we have an evening stream. It's always super mellow, super communicative. It's super collaborative. Everyone's always in the chat. We're all just reacting to each other. So if anyone has any questions about anything I'm showing, please do ask them in the chat, and I will offer up the best answers I can. Shout out to our Discord as well. We have a Discord server called The Happy Place, and it exists to literally be that, a happy place on the internet. The internet can be a dark place. The world is a dark place at the moment, and the Happy Place is just a text chat server where we're all just working, doing our own thing during the day and the night, and we're all just there for each other, sharing links, sharing inspiration, sharing photography, illustration, design. It really is a place for everyone, a digital home. The link to that is here on the Twitch page, but also in the chat. If you type !commands with an S, that will give you all the commands that you can trigger off, and Discord is one of them, and you'll get the link via that way as well. So please do come and join us. It's meant to be communicative and collaborative and just lovely things like that. Right, we're going to jump right into it. So this was a talk I originally gave in 2015 at the top of the Colston Tower in central Bristol, and it was an initiative called This Happened, and it was basically different speakers talking about things that happened to them. So I took this literally and built a talk of the different events that happened within this project that I wanted to talk about, Gromit Unleashed. Now, Gromit Unleashed was first happened in 2013, like I say, 7 years ago now, and then so this was with a couple of years reflection on all of that. But as you'll see in the talk, it just grew and grew. This thing literally grew legs and I think surprised everyone with what happened. But I haven't edited this original talk, and I haven't taken any of it out as well. So it's quite nice looking back on where I was personally 5 years ago. So let's jump into it. At this point, I was a senior designer for Aardman. I wasn't yet a director and a designer. I was doing all the filmmaking work and directing work in my own time and starting to do more and more of it within the support of Aardman, but I was yet to make that official leap to my official role. And Aardman is a place, a studio, creative studio that I have been there for 12 years now. I'm coming on be 13 next year. And if you're not aware of Aardman, Aardman is a creative studio. I often call it a cathedral of creativity, just an incredible place to work, and it's so hard to talk about Aardman without sounding like the biggest fanboy as well, because I just love the creativity and the culture that it encourages. Basically, everyone there is there because they love it and they want to be and they want to do their best work, and that's infectious. You know, seeing all of these different types of work, these different things, these different creations, from feature films to video games to interactive websites to storybooks to, you know, there's a huge range of work that goes on there, more than just what people know it as well, more than clay, more than stop frame. There's every type of technique and every type of skill and technical ability there, and it's a really exciting, infectious place to work. You know, you want to do your best. You want to be a better creative. You want to be a better person of the team. And now as well, it's employee owned. When Peter Lord and David Sproxton, who officially retired from being running the company, they gave the company to us, the employees, the partners. So it's an employee owned company now. Still with Dave and Pete very, very, very much involved, of course. And it's just it's yeah, it amplifies that feeling of pride even more, that it's our company, and we want it to be great. We want to do wonderful things. Reese in the chat says, we're all fanboys of Aardman. You're just lucky enough to work there. Absolutely. I know how fortunate I am to play a part in there, and the fact that I could, join as a senior designer. Then over the years, introduce the things I was passionate about, the things I was building a career of in my own time, becoming a director, becoming a filmmaker. With their support and with their mentorship and their development, I then managed to change my job role. So that's an incredibly rare position to have, and I never ever want to take that lightly, because I know how fortunate that I am. So I love that place, and it's very, very special. So this project is even more special. Katie Cowan in the chat, and Katie, if you don't know, is the creator and the director of Creative Boom, the awesome online magazine that features and celebrates the likes of all sorts of creatives. So do give Kate a shout out, and do go and check out Creative Boom. Katie says, it was awesome visiting you there in Bristol before the pandemic. Seems like an age ago. Katie came to Aardman because we recorded a podcast together for her Creative Boom podcast. Also search that out on all Spotify, all different podcast platforms, and it was lovely talking to Katie about all things creativity. Really, it's just we just geeked out on making things, doing things, being a creative human, and all of that jazz. So do go and check out Creative Boom. So working at Aardman is an absolute joy. And then at night, and this is something that I do to this day even more, I go under the name of Jam Factory, where I try my hand at and do everything and anything, from graphic design to illustration to typography to toy design to bike design to everything and anything. I love just, in your own time, there are no rules. You can do what you want. Now, how much of your own time you have, how much energy you have are two totally different things. But the time that you can find is yours. You can make with it whatever you like. You can use it to push boundaries, to try new techniques, to try new mediums, to see what you're made of, to see where you want to go, to see what you want to do. You can plant the seeds for your own future career by trying things in your own hours. And that's exactly what I did, 10-15 years ago, before I then became a director and a filmmaker and a designer as well. So I because that worked so much for me, and it's 10-20 years worth of work, I still believe that you can sort of just start forging your own path, basically, by what you choose to do in your own time. You don't stop being creative at 5-6 o'clock whenever you finish work or school or whatever it is. You're always having ideas. You always want to push and develop, and that's true for everyone and anyone. Everyone has creative capabilities and capacities. It just depends if you can find the energy to tap into that stuff, and I just make sure I'm always listening to myself, wanting to develop and design and create and just make stuff. And I just love everything and anything, just trying my hand at graphic design. Sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's not so serious, sometimes it's doing things for other people, sometimes it's making things for myself. It's always I just like the random nature of, again, doing things in your own time, and that expands to characters as well, and just developing and designing and making things. A lot of these things are a series of characters that I created called droplets, which then made their way into vinyl toys as well, from these small ones you see here in the middle. Oh, I'm pausing here to say a massive thank you to Tour de France for subscribing for another 2 months. Thank you so much. That is very, very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you very much, Tour de France. You are awesome as always. Thank you. So yeah, so these were the vinyl toys, and then on the left, that's a big version of a vinyl toy that I made with my buddy Hyatt from Cyan Lane Workshops. That is 4 foot tall, and it stands in the atrium of Aardman, which is awesome, and it's just lovely to have that part of that, part of the fabric of Aardman, to have one of my characters there. Again, having those opportunities means so much. And yeah, just different toys and different creations and different things. And I'd also was making films and collaborating with people, from small little funny films to documenting things at Aardman that you see here. This is our head model maker NT making a very special morph, to this Bikes Mine film, which was a half-an-hour documentary I made with a big group of people. We all collaborated together to make something. And this is Gromit Unleashed that we are going to talk about today. So this is what I want to talk about, Gromit Unleashed. So Gromit Unleashed in 2013 was a charity arts project done with the Wallace and Gromit Grand Appeal. And the Wallace and Gromit Grand Appeal is an incredible charity that partners with Aardman and has partnered with them for 20 plus years. And their sole goal is raising money for sick children and their families in Bristol Children's Hospital. There's not many specialised children's hospitals in the UK, and we're fortunate enough in Bristol that we have one. And so the Wallace and Gromit Grand Appeal that's always been what they do. They raise money for the children that are undergoing care there, short-term care, long-term care, and also support for their families, because as you can imagine, when a child is sick, it impacts so many people in their lives, and it's really important to give them as much support, whether it's emotional support, financial support, all these different types. So that is what the Grand Appeal do. And in 2013 they launched this project called Gromit Unleashed, which basically saw 80 plus 5 foot tall statues of Gromit placed around Bristol as an arts trail. It was free, it was open to all. It was a way to give to put art on the streets, because not everyone has been to an art gallery. Not everyone believes that they can go to an art gallery. Galleries can be imposing things, but by putting this art on the streets, it gives it to everyone, which I think is a wonderful sentiment anyway. It created a fantastic trail, because it really was a trail. These were spread out all over Bristol. It encouraged people to go and find all these different 80 Gromits. Each one was designed and painted by a different artist. Sometimes the artist and the designer was the same person. Sometimes someone designed it and another person painted it. And they were all done by different people, all in very different locations around Bristol. The sole goal of this, they were on the trail for 10 weeks. And then at the end of the 10 weeks, they were then going to be held in a big auction where every single penny that they would raise would be would be donated to the Grand Appeal, which would then give money to the Bristol Children's Hospital. It was unknown. This was the first time a licensed character was used for an arts trail, because obviously there's lots and lots of arts trails. There's things like the gorillas and there's the cows, and it's a great initiative. It's a great idea. Public art on the streets to create these attractions that people can go and see. But this was the first time a licensed character had done this. So just catching up on the chat, Aaron says, do I remember right that some made their way to London for a while as well? Yes, they did. That was in Shaun in the City. So that was the trail that followed this 2 years later, which I am going to be doing a separate stream about, because that was a whole different thing in itself. And that had a group of them in Bristol and a group of them in London as well. So it was split across a tale of two cities, which was awesome. But yeah, that was Shaun in the City. So it was an incredible initiative that I absolutely desperately wanted to be a part of, and I got to be really involved in this project from being an artist, and I'll show you as we go through the talk. There's so many different aspects that I just wanted to help. I just wanted to be involved. It's such an incredible thing, and it's every part of this is good. Every part of it has good at its heart. It's about helping people through art, through design, through creativity. And sometimes as a creative you can feel a little bit removed from doing good work, even though that anything you make visually can connect with people. You have an incredible power that you can make something visually, whether you write it or design it, create it, paint it, film it, whatever it may be. You are still creating something that other human beings can see and can consume, and you're having a chance to affect them emotionally, which is such an important thing. That's why I love my job so much, because actually you can do those things, and those opportunities when they come by are so rare as well, that you want to jump in with both hands. And so Gromit Unleashed, when I knew that this was happening, I just absolutely wanted to be involved. And thankfully the team who were behind this, the Grand Appeal team, Nikki and Lauren and many different people, as well as Nick Park, of course, because Gromit is Nick's beloved character, and Aardman as a whole just let me be a part of it. So I wanted to propose to do something, I guess, that was in my sort of style, because I'm not the best painter. I'm okay, but I'm not the best. But I feel graphic design is my strong suit, as it were. If I'm good at anything, hopefully I'm okay at graphic design. And I kind of wanted to do that. And when people come to Aardman, they are struck by kind of the facts and the figures and the cool little pieces of information that you can find out. So I kind of wanted to use my privilege of living and working at pretty much do live there at Aardman, but also using graphic design to sort of share some of those facts and figures and pieces of information about Aardman and the creation of Wallace and Gromit and everything that goes into the productions with people. So basically my Gromit was called Stats the Way to Do It, and he was covered in stats and facts all about the creation of Wallace and Gromit and Aardman and stop frame production. And I made it hot pink because I love hot pink, if you can't tell by this very pink stream. Pink and gold, two greatest colours in the world. And they said yes. They said, yeah, you can do it gold and pink, which is just the best. And yeah, I wanted to make it a celebration. I wanted to make it a thing that people will come to see as part of this trail, but also hopefully they would take some time and they would learn. They would find out some interesting information. They would feel like they had an insight into the studio. That I'm really fascinated by all of this stuff. Like one of the facts that just appeared on screen there was that all of the rivets on the orange rocket in A Grand Day Out, the very first Wallace and Gromit film, the beautiful big orange rocket with all the big rivets on the side, those rivets are made out of lentils. I think that's a great fact. I like that. So it was those kind of little tidbits that I wanted to share and to show. And the way we did it, and I'll talk through this properly in a moment, is basically I designed all the graphics. I designed the whole thing in Adobe Illustrator and designed all the graphics. Then those graphics were printed out onto special vinyl. You then have to weed those pieces of vinyl by hand, because what you get is a full-on sheet of, for example, dark purple. And then you have to use a scalpel to weed out the negative image, because a computer just basically sort of etches and plots the graphics out. You then have to manually weed them out, and then you apply them on the front of the body. Now the difficult thing is obviously there is not a flat piece of surface on this whole Gromit. That was what made it tricky, but thankfully I partnered with a very good friend, Jamie Cross, who is a vinyl specialist who did all the application of this. This was a real collaborative effort as well. The film should restart in a second and then I can show you. So it was I wanted to make something bold and bright and eye-catching. This also lived outside of the Aardman HQ on Gasferry Road in Bristol, so I wanted it to be a beacon of fun. Wanted it to be a thing that people would enjoy standing and reading and spending more time looking at. But the film should restart in a minute, then I can actually talk you through it. But just every stage of this was just so exciting. So we would get the big blank sculpture here and had to mask it off, had to make a murder room at the top of Aardman HQ. And I decided to paint mine, to do the fill colours with spray paint. I'm not very good at can control, as you can see here. That's why it is so patchy. Looking back, I'm not painting that right at all, and my friends who are great at graffiti will be cringing right now that I did this so badly. But it gave it a nice flat coat. It was a great solid pink, which was really, really nice. So I did the body pink and then masked it off with lots of dust sheets to do the gold section as well. And again, what's great with spray paint gold is it's proper shiny gold, which was awesome. There was loads of spray mess everywhere. It was a bit gnarly. So I got the base color done, and then I was working in Illustrator to do all the different graphics, just do them single color. And then I had to just printing them out, figure out, do size and scale to work out exactly where these graphics are going to go, because there's no way to do it until you're there. So I would cut them all out as temporary tests, and then would use masking tape to place them where they should go. And shout out to Sarah Matthews here, painting her Gromit in the blue one just behind. And then we'll basically use tape to stick these things on to get a rough idea of where these could go. And then this was the weeding process. This is my wife Jane kindly helping. You had to do this for every single piece. It took so long. Thankfully Jane really enjoyed doing it. Actually, she said it was like quite zen. Once you just get into it, it's just a flow thing. So she did a lot of the weeding. A huge thanks to her. But it was like making sure you didn't accidentally peel off a T or a dot of an I and stuff. And then here's Jamie doing the application, and he had them all on special sheets. They were reversed, and then you would put them on and put them under, and it was a long process. I think this took 2 very long nights just to do the application, and there was special versions that were pink on pink as well. I really like sort of like like matte black, gloss black on matte black. I like that sort of thing. So here we had hot pink on hot pink. That there were small little teaser facts, like the fact that Gromit was originally going to be a cat before he became a dog. So trying to have a few different hidden facts that people who looked close enough could see. Painting the pupils of Gromit is the scariest thing every time, because if you get them wrong, he just looks cross-eyed and it just doesn't work. And so I was putting that off. I did that the very, very last thing because I was so terrified of getting it wrong and not doing it right. And then here he was in the van going off to get his big, thick, heavy coat of lacquer, which weather sealed the whole thing, and meant that because these things were going outside for 10 weeks in the hot summer, they needed to be strong and protected. And so then we got him back, and then he was a lovely, glossy shade. And then this was how he looked when he was finished. So I am just going to have a little catch up on the chat. American Typer says, Grand Appeal is amazing and Arvin support is phenomenal. If you ever find yourself in the lift at the Children's Hospital, Wallace is the voice of the lift. Just one of the so many things, but it is wonderful. Absolutely. And this is the thing, you ideally never have to go to the Children's Hospital. You really don't want to have to go there, of course, but they are doing incredible work to make the hospital welcoming and calming and a fun place to be for the kids who have to go there and their families. And so having things like Wallace, the voice of Wallace, calls out the numbers at the lift is a lovely touch. Yeah, they work really hard to make that a really beautiful place. Daniel-san, welcome to the chat. Thanks so much. He says, this was incredible for Bristol. Such a good summer searching for them with all the family. Yes, the summer of 2013 was so hot. so hot. And it was just it felt so special to have this happening, this bustle, and I'll talk about this in a bit. The hustle and bustle, the energy of that happening was wonderful. American Typo says, how many of the other Gromits did you see before, during the design and construction? Were a lot of artists looking over each other's shoulders? So we got the best thing. So there were different painting locations for artists. There was a big one at Temple Meads, like a secret hidden place. There was places all over Bristol where people could go. But at the end, they all came to Ardman to be put on their plinths, on their bases. It was awesome. So in the Ardman car park, we had all 80 plus Gromits before anyone else had seen them. No one did any work. Everyone was just in the summer, had a cup of tea or a nice cold drink, and everyone was just, because it was the first time we'd seen it as well, just like it was lovely. It was this real buzz. All the Ardman employees were just having a look, going, have you seen this one? Have you seen that one? It was awesome. It was like the best sneak peek. And because of the way Ardman is, if you're down one end, you can kind of you can see down to the car park, and so if you got the right angle, you could see all of these ears popping up. And by this point, there was quite a lot of hype happening. There was, people knew that the trail was going to kick off, and you just see these heads pop up. It was awesome. It was so. I think that's it. Is every memory of this is just positive. It's fun. It was just really, really, really lovely. Bomper Studio. My kids love looking for these. I'm sure there were in Cardiff too, as we went to Cardiff Airport. Oh, I can't remember. I mean, they went far and wide. They did go really, really far and wide, and that was what lovely. It was just a brilliant thing in the southwest. So this was where mine sat outside the front of the Arbon HQ. And yeah, these were just some of the facts that were adorned around the thing. One of the Queen's corgis fell asleep on Nick Park's foot. Absolutely true. So this is the thing. All of these were true. I worked with Nick and Pete Lord. So Nick Park, Pete Lord, Dave Sproxton, and the wonderful team that supports them, Emily, Angie, to get all of these memories, these sort of snippets, these great little things that only they know. So it was really, really cool putting these things on there, because I learned loads. It was great getting this Word document that it was just like, no way, I didn't know that. There we go. Wallace drives an Austin A35, a custom modified one. Wallace and Gromit went missing in New York City, later found in a taxi's boot. Yeah, all of these were absolutely true. So, it kind of wanted it to be, entertaining and engaging. And it's Wallace and Gromit had 4 wins and 10 nominations for. Arbon has had 4 wins and 10 nominations at the Oscars. Now, all of these lovely facts and tidbits. And here was one of the pink on pink ones, so it was quite hard to see. But there was a few dotted all over that were like little hidden ones. It was great to do this stuff. And then it was out. It was out in the world. It was over to the public, and this is just one small snippet of one afternoon in 10 weeks. This was pretty much how busy it was all day, every day. Every Gromit had this many people around, and we set up a few time-lapse cameras.
Keep the time.
Oh, Thomas Zuber, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you so much. It was just so bonkers. This was a particularly bonkers time because there was another 3 extra Gromits outside of Aardman. When the Harbour Festival was on, they were moved here. But this was it. You can see cars just coming here, stopping, pulling out, getting up, taking a quick picture. It was there you go, rain, sun, it doesn't matter. And this is just a snippet. I've got the whole time lapse of a whole day, and even at night. Although all kids were great, they respected all of this. It was the adults who were sometimes numpties who would just climb all over this in their shoes. And I was outside of Arbon every evening, just like touching it up with little bits of paint and just making sure everything was okay, because I just wanted it to be beautiful. I wanted it to well, because it was going to be auctioned at the end. I wanted it to look as best as it could. It needs to make as much money as it can. So yeah, I just became obsessed. I became obsessed with being Gromit's keeper, and just with my little paintbrush. Honestly, people would exit at the end of the day, and I'd just be there on the floor with a tiny paintbrush painting his little legs. Like an absolute lunatic. But the reaction to this was just absolutely wonderful. It was super fun. It was just joyous seeing how people reacted to it and got enjoyed being a part of it. Katie says, he's a wonderful character. You have the dream job. I really do. And this is the thing I feel so fortunate about, and so mind-blowing that, can you imagine being Nick? So Nick created this character of Gromit from his head, and he just developed it and made it in something he believed in. And that character, that thing that he created in his mind is so beloved. How amazing is that? And how wonderful is that the power of creativity can hold such strength, really? He's made something that has endured the test of time and is beloved by people, and is just, people want to see this character and connect with it, and that's awesome. And then to have 80 plus people then do their take on it, but fundamentally it's still that same character at his heart. I think that's so special. I think it's I don't take that for granted at all. I think it's wonderful, and it's inspiring as well. It's inspiring that, you know, it thinks maybe we could do this. Maybe, you know, everyone has this power to do that. You know, you've just got to do the work, and you've got to create things and put it out there, because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Nick, when he was first creating Wallace and Gromit, did not know that it would lead him to 4 Oscars, and it would lead him to, you know, having this huge arts trail. You know, you never know, but you've got to do the things. You've got to make them in the first place. So I find that really, really inspiring. Katie says, I love how he doesn't say anything but says so much with his eyes. Oh, and that's another thing. I think that's another power of Gromit, because the character never says anything anyway. You put so much of yourself, or you sort of imagine the character yourself. It's like having a real dog. Dogs don't speak, but you give them a voice yourself. And I think 80 of these on the streets of Bristol, they sort of take on their own character as well. I think it's really, really special. Yeah, so that was a trail, but that was just where it began. But before we do that, I think we need a musical intermission, don't you? Silly musical interlude. Thank you as always for the indulgence in that. I love doing that. I just noodle along quite often. So I make a tiny little beat on the OPZ just before the stream, and then yeah, so that's all played back live, and then I just interfere with it and turn bits on and off and multiply different levels and blah 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 blah. So thanks for that. Always a fun, silly little thing to do that. So anyway, back to Gromit Unleashed. That's where we got to, and then that was the trail, and it just went from there. I just wanted to be involved as much as possible. I wanted to just be a part of it and just to do stuff. So I kind of wanted to just make as much as I could, and so I just thought it'd be a silly little thing that I would make a lost dog poster, right? So there's 80 dogs all over Bristol, of course. Easy joke, have you seen this dog? And wanted to make it, and just for fun, I just did it in my own time. But I showed it to the team at the Grand Appeal and at Arban, and they had a chuckle as well, and sort of said, "Well, can we do stuff with it? Can we run with it?" So yeah, of course. It's just a silly idea. You can do whatever you like with it. I'm just being a silly sausage, really. So then this happened. It actually went around Bristol as a real "Have you seen this dog?" poster, and was in the Bristol Post paper in the lost dog section. So silly, so silly. But you know, you'd never know unless you do this stuff. You know, this was just a silly. It makes me laugh, so I'm just gonna put it out there. And you know, you never know until you do the thing. Like the fact you never know with Nick that his wonderful character would become as huge as it is and would connect with people. You know, you just got to do it. Just even if it's just a silly thing that makes you laugh. And this just made me laugh. This was silly, but then to see it on the streets of Bristol, and I would get people send me photos as well with their dog next to the sign. So it was awesome. It was awesome, never knowing where this stuff is going to go and where it's going to take you, basically. And then this happened. So because I was just up for everything and anything, I just wanted to help. I just wanted to be involved, and I would often say to the Grand Appeal team, you know, please do use me. I'm really happy to be a part of it. And then this was just a thing that just one night that the secret news was that Pixar were making their own Gromit, which that alone is mind blowing, absolutely wonderful. And they were doing a Buzz Lightyear Gromit, but when they were making it, so this was out in the Pixar studios in California, their filmers shot a bunch of footage and just sent it over, and they needed something, the Grand Appeal needed something for the next day, and sort of said, oh, is there any chance that you could help us out and you could stitch and edit together? And it's one of those things where, of course, you've got to say yes. You've just got to, you know, I remember being super stacked busy on something or other, but it's like, no, this is for such a great cause. This is going to help out people. And just, I think I ended up going to bed super, super late because just trying to balance all these things. But it's one of those things where, you know, had I not done that I wouldn't have just got the ability to look through all the rushes that Pixar sent. That was what was wonderful. They sent all of these brilliant, all the full clips of all the footage, and just seeing that was ace. I wouldn't have got to see those, you know, I wouldn't have got an insight into the Pixar world like I did if I hadn't have said yes. And the best thing as well that I wouldn't have been able to discover is that he has got Andy on the underside of his paw. So that massive sculpture, they've written Andy on the underside. You would never know that because Gromit is nailed to a plinth. There's no way to see it, to ever pick it up. But because I got the rushes, I got to see that. So, you know, that felt like that was the reward itself, just having access to that and just saying yes and just wanting to be a part of it. And so it was really lovely to be able to edit that little film together, you know. And it just, the whole thing just went bonkers. This is some screenshots of live on BBC Breakfast News. And this was when they were building up to the auction. So this was the night of the auction. It was what the whole 10 weeks had led up for. It was, you know, the reason why this trail existed. And it was, everyone was really nervous. You know, what was going to happen? Would they sell? That's a lot of dogs, 80 big dogs. You know, where have you got the space to put these things? There was a real air of excitement, anticipation, but also nervousness as to what was going to happen. But it got great coverage, like I say, being on the news. All the different news networks covered it. And I screenshotted this because it was like, there's my one, woo woo. Let's Brock says, who let the dogs out? Am I right? This guy. I should have done that, shouldn't I? I should have done a Baha Man. Who let the dogs out? So we had Tim Wonnacott as the auctioneer, and I just wanted to again be helpful, be useful, and just wanted to offer my services up. So I got to help out with making the sort of slideshow that would be broadcast in the auditorium for the auction to happen, as well as I think I was handling the live stream as well. And back in now it'd be dead easy, but 7 years ago maybe Twitch existed, I don't really know, but it wasn't that easy to do live streaming. Now it would be dead simple, but I was sort of I was manning that. I think I was manning the chat and I was manning the stream, and we had a camera set up. It was quite a low res camera, and because we were in the middle of a car park in Bristol. It was this huge marquee, but it was just, yeah, the anticipation and the excitement was so there. And here's Peter Lord, Nick Park, and Dave Sproxton in the front seats, ready for the night. And this is where we were basically. We had all of these people. You had quite a lot of the artists were there themselves, but then of course the Grand Appeal and Aardman worked really hard to get people there who would buy these things. Of course, it's an auction. You want them to sell. You really want them to sell. You want them to sell. And you can see some of the grommets all the way around the side here, and they had this incredible system where backstage the teams had built like these pulley systems where every time Tim Wanacott would talk about a new lot, a new grommet, out would push the latest grommet and a spotlight would appear on them. It was such a slick system. They did such an awesome job. And so what you see there is the 3 big tall screens. That was running Keynote. It was 3 sort of separate, super tall, monolithic style screens, and one Keynote was split across all of them with all of the different lots. That was my contribution to that, and it was great to be there. We had like a console at the back. A console at the back where the AV team was, and I was sitting with them with my little laptop with a live stream camera and stuff. And so it was really sort of palpable and exciting to be there. It really was. So just before I proceed, I'm just gonna check out the chat. Tour de Francis, when will you have Morph all around Bristol? Custom Morphs would be pretty damn cool. He would be cool, wouldn't he? Yeah, he's such a great shape as well. No idea, no comment, but no idea. If I say no comment, it sounds like I know something. I don't know anything. So that was the excitement, and then it came. It sounds like an NDA. It's really not. I wish I could tell you something or pretend that I know something. I don't. It was time for my grommet sculpture, and bear in mind, we just didn't know what these things would sell for. Would they sell for 50 quid or 500 quid? You just don't know. And this is what happened with mine.
What goes on down in that place. Anyway, super duper, £10,000 do I see? Somewhere, £10,000, yes? 10,000, 11,000, 14,000, 16, 17 internet, thank you. Crack on at 19,000, we love it. 20,000, 21,000. On the internet now at 21,000. At 21,000, 22,000 now. At 22,000. Internet bid at 22. Lovely jubbly. At £22,000. Yes? Any more? At 22,000 then. At 22,000, it's on the 23,000 internet. Any more in Bristol at 23,000? Gavin will be pleased. At 23,000, at 23,000, it's 23,000, and I'm 24,000 now. Well done, internet, at 24,000. Just buck up at 24,000. Any more for the first time on the internet? Then at 25,000, come again at 25,000. First time on the internet. At 25,000, second time on the internet at £25,000, and for the third and last time on the internet, somebody's hovering, at the third and last time on the internet at 25,000, at 25,000, I'll give you just an opportunity, you lovely, generous internet bidders, wherever you are, with all that, 26,000, he has come again, waiting a second or two, makes another £1,000 to add to the grand total, for the Unleashed, £27,000, just a bit of a pause, and 27,000 is bid, bit more hovering. You know you don't want to miss it on the internet for a bid, and you seem to be hovering some more. God, this is like watching paint dry. 27,000, we've had a lot of paint drying around here too. £27,000, but it's £27,000, and what do you buy with £27,000? £27,000, and he's still hovering, and he might bid 28,000. Do I wait or do I cut him off? I don't cut him off. I can't cut him off. Can I? I can't cut him off. He wants to bid, I think. He's a long way away. He wants to bid. Are you going on to 28,000 or not? Because if you're not, I'm going to sell it. Okay, if you're seeing that you've gone 28,000, you see, another £1,000 comes. So back to that original internet, but you're going to bid 30,000. Come on, internet, but just buck up. Because there's a lot of people sitting in this room and they want to go home and have a cup of tea or bid for another lot. We have 29,000. Stop this hovering business. Just bid 30,000 or not. Yes, you're going to bid 30,000 on the internet for the first time, then at 29,000. For the second time at £29,000. You either bid up or not on the internet, or I'm selling it at 29,000, and it's sold.
Oh my God, I haven't watched that in 7 years. Oh, it makes me very emotional, and £29,000. I mean, it just blows my mind. For me, that's the power of Nick's creation with Gromit. I think that's the power of charity and doing good things, and everyone in that project being committed to making things just entertaining and engaging people. So the slide that you're seeing right now, that is the total for what was raised on one night. 10 weeks of a charity arts trail raised 2.35 million quid. That night, 80 plus grommets, over 2 million quid. Everyone was blown away. I remember when it finished. I was like this. Everyone was like this. Just was walking around in a daze, you know. And that money, that amount. So an MRI, a child-specific MRI scanner is really, really a really important thing. But as you can imagine, they're very expensive. They're £1 million. And that was the dream for the team, that they could possibly have money towards buying an MRI scanner. They could buy two. They could buy two and have change left over now. It was so... it was just an incredible night. Bomber Studio in the chat asks, I wonder where they are all now. So they were all bought by different people, right? And I'll save my story for where mine went right to the end. But it was some people bought them and displayed them in public places. Some people bought them and donated them to other things. Some people bought them and you know, it was totally up to the discretion of the people that bought them. Of course, you've spent tens of thousands of pounds, do whatever you want. American Typo says, my boss at the time went along with 10 grand to bid, thought we'd get something, didn't even get a look in. It was astonishing. Yeah, no one knew. No one knew. No one really knew. And I mean, there was, from what I think, if I remember this is true, just before the auction happened, Tim Wanacott, who is a great auctioneer, sort of was advising the team to maybe lower the early bid. Matt Roth has subscribed. I'm all over the shot. Matt Roth has subscribed. Thank you, Matt. Thank you so much. So what I'm taking by that, Matt's just subscribed, and because he's subscribed for 2.35 million. Is that right, Matt? Cool, that's really kind of you. Thanks, man. Matt's like, I'm not having this, talk about this charity money. I'm subscribing to this idiot on the internet. But yeah, back to Tour de France's point that no one should underestimate what certain characters mean to them. This shows the power of simple creation, as you've been saying. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it was such a special evening, and just, you know, for me personally, just every artist was just got to be involved in this. And just, I remember seeing this photo that one of the pro photographers set, and just, you know, I have huge respect for Nick. I've talked about Nick a lot on this stream before. You know, I love him as a human being. He's a lovely man, and he's, you know, his creations are wonderful, and he's a very supportive, very encouraging person to work with. And, you know, just to see him in his element, and he's so kind and he's so gracious. You know, he sets the example for how you should operate and how you should conduct yourself as a creative, no matter what your level is. I mean, if I had 4 Oscars, I probably wouldn't be able to get through the door. My head would be too big. But he's just such a kind, compassionate person, and I think that plays into all of this as well, that he's such a gracious person and wants things to do well, and, of course, wanted Gromit to help the charity. And so the fact that it could raise 2.35 million quid in a night was astronomical. It was so special. But it didn't end there. I personally wanted to continue to do things and make things, and after the auction there was then an art auction as well, because as you can imagine, 80 plus artists, and a lot of them based within Aardman. They are fantastic creators and wanted to create, you know, if we could make more money for the charity, if we could make more money for the hospital, then we would, of course. So it was just people were making and doing stuff for this art auction that was on eBay, and I wanted to collaborate with Nick again. I just asked him, I says, would you be up for doing a bit of a collaboration, just a print? So I just did this sort of vector simplified version of the wrong trousers, and we got it framed. Oh, Bomber Studio, thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. Cheers. did this vector illustration, and then he on glass he drew Wallace over the top, and it was lovely. It was it was just such an honour to collaborate with Nick, and we did a Gromit as well. So we had these small miniature versions of Gromits that I'll show you soon that could be bought, and all the money went to charity as well. And we did a little doodle version on them together, which, in hindsight, why did I ruin it with my drawing? Why would you ruin it with my terrible drawing of feathers? But we did it together. It was great. It was great. And Andy in the chat says, my son loves Aardman. I'm the same as your son. I love Aardman too. Shout out to your son. And Matt Roth says, love the two styles coming together though. Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, and that was the point. It was about making something collaborative. But after all this, so the pink Gromit that I did was sold, and then we realised that Aardman themselves don't have their own Gromit. So we had all of this, this excitement, and then we didn't have one. They'd all obviously sold to auction, fantastic, but Aardman didn't have one to sort of celebrate it, because my pink Gromit I had made celebrating Aardman and Wallace and Gromit. They commissioned me to make another one that would celebrate all of the facts about the Gromit Unleashed trail themselves. So I got to make another Gromit, and we called him the Legacy Gromit, because it was representative of the legacy that Aardman and the Grand Appeal team had made through the project. And so I got to do the reverse colours. This time I did gold and pink highlights, which was ace, as I love, and it was all done with all these pieces of graphic, using the same technique of graphic design, cut out and then applied. And he was a special custom version here, so he had a smooth collar, because on the streets you can Gromit's got the spiky collars, but here we had that all smoothed off, and he's got a big dog tag around his neck, and on the big dog tag it says the Unleashed auction raised 2.35 million quid. So it's a really nice thing to have as a celebratory. This lives at no, where did this live first? So this one was commissioned for the Aardman Atrium, and then the Grand Appeal team, who have a wonderful store at the Cribs Causeway in Bristol, realised, well, they don't have one themselves. So I made a duplicate, an identical version, a twin, that lives at in Cribs Causeway in Bristol. So there's one in Aardman, one in Bristol, one at Cribs Causeway, sorry. But there's no quick way to duplicate them. We just had to do it all over again, paint, gloss, finish, do the graphics, peel them out, put them on again. So it was a big project, but it was such a joy, such an honour to be able to do it again, and to have something that would represent how well and how successful it was, and just how many people it impacted as well, which was really, 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 again, don't take that for granted. T Cycling UK says, just shows how putting yourself forward for something can really bring beautiful things in the future. Absolutely, yeah, of course. And just I always do this with as much things as I can. I just try and offer my skills or services, and just or at the very least be a cheerleader for people. Be a cheerleader for the things that you're interested and excited by, because I love this stuff so much. But it was a big project. It was lots more weeding again. For some reason, weeding out the gold metallic graphics were a lot harder. It was a lot harder to see. It was an awful lot harder to see. And Tour de France asked a question that I am going to answer in a minute. Yes, is the answer. I did do the Robo Gromit. So this was some of the graphics that we had adorned on the Legacy Gromit from. The top secret name was Project Big Dog for when the project first began. The youngest Gromiteer, so the youngest person that went around saw all the Gromits, was 6 days old. One of the Gromits was painted in a biscuit factory. Gromit Lightyear travelled the furthest because it came all the way from California, which is 10,550 miles away. So it was awesome. It was lovely to celebrate this again. It was lovely hearing and seeing all those facts relating to the project as well, and it was just lovely. We all made a big deal of it. This is Nikki, who's the director of the Grand Appeal charity, and this is David Broxton, the co-founder of Aardman, who's also on the board of the charity as well. And we had an unveiling ceremony with a gold cloth, and this is just my dream, pink and gold, and to be a part of Aardman. it was awesome, you know, and to see him be next to the model there on the right of the cooker from a Grand Day Out. So yeah, it was lovely. We had our own custom cakes, got to use all the graphics and make custom cut cakes for everyone as well. It was really, really, really special. It's just, again, I'm just such a fan. I'm such a cheerleader for Aardman and creative people in general. So to be a part of this just makes me want to work harder. You know, I see these people creating and doing things and just think, well, you know, they got there by obviously huge amount of skill, but also putting the work in, doing the effort. And you're only going to improve your skills if you keep doing it. You keep iterating and making and creating and doing. So it's a constant. That place is a constant inspiration to do more, to go further. And it was lovely. It was really lovely. To be a part of all of this, but it didn't stop there. There was a special version that happened in Hong Kong that was sort of Gromit Unleashed Hong Kong with a smaller version, but there's a really great relationship with Hong Kong there to get Gromit. Wallace and Gromit are really popular out there in the East, so it was awesome being a part of that. And so I got to, because I've been involved in the others, I got the chance to pitch this design as well. And I think I love mechs and sort of things like Gundam and just massive mech robots, and so I kind of imagined what a big Robo Gromit would look like, and because as well we couldn't paint them here, they were painted over in Hong Kong. I wanted to create a design that would be like easy for me to sort of remotely direct, as it were, and for them to create. And so I thought the panel situation and the robo thing with graphics. So he was called the GRM02, the Giant Robotic Mutt Transporter, and he had all of these different stickers on him. So he's kind of got this penguin locator, the feathers locator stuck on him somewhere, and he's got a tickle-activated escape hatch under his belly, so if kids would walk underneath him, that's where the tickle-activated escape hatch was. So it was just really fun doing that and being a part of that and seeing that out in another part of the world as well. Matt in the chat says, so glad you've been allowed a platform to bring your creativity to the table too. Says a lot about Aardman being so supportive. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And this is a thing I say that Aardman, you know, it feels like my home. I really feel at home with. I want to make the things that Aardman is known for. You know, warmth and charm and character and connecting with people, and that makes me want to do that. So the fact that they've been supportive, and they are supportive of everyone there, of developing and nurturing and giving opportunities. That is how they operate. So I'm so fortunate. I love it. But it didn't stop there, because then this happened. Little grommets, little grommets, little grommets. What's these legs? Oh my days! You know, this was just staggering. I never ever expected it. So long story short, this was a mall out in Hong Kong, and they wanted to make a gigantic version, and of course they wanted to make Nick Park's version gigantic. But Nick's, you can see here in the background, is the wallpaper color from Gromit's bedroom with the bones, and trying to get that repeating pattern that gigantic wouldn't work. And so they kindly says, well, maybe we could pick another one, and Nick's very gracious. Nick's very gracious, and I just got lucky that my design is basically built in parts. You know, all those black lines are meant to look like a robot, you know, a mech built out of different parts, so they could hide the cut lines in the design. And so they said, would you mind if yours was 4 meters tall? No, of course I wouldn't mind. That's absolutely incredible. It's all I've wanted in my entire life. I've always wanted to make toys and make massive toys, and yeah, absolutely bonkers. And this did come to Bristol Cribs Causeway at one point as well, which was awesome. I don't think I'll put a photo in this slideshow, unfortunately, but I did go to see it. You can just about touch the underside of it if you lift your hands up. It was amazing. So, you know, you never know where these things are going to go. You just got to, you know, put yourself out there. But also, it's also worth saying I'm showing and sharing the things that did happen. You know, all of our careers are littered with things that didn't. You know, I'm always reaching out and trying things, and more often than not, they don't. But you just have to, you know, you only ever really share the ones that do happen, right? Because otherwise there is nothing to share. So, you know, please don't think that this is always just I'm fortunate enough to get these amazing opportunities. This is a selection of things that I was fortunate enough to be involved in. But this is a lifetime, a creative career of just trying and failing, trying and not getting an opportunity, trying, not being good enough, and then going back and learning and getting better. So you never know. You've just got to keep trying, and that's what makes it difficult, because you will feel deflated, and you will feel like you're not going anywhere, and you will look at others and think, well, they're getting it, and why not? Matt in the chat says, are there plans to do this again? I know they did the penguin statues. Yes, that was Gromit Unleashed 2, which I'm going to do in another stream. That was awesome. That was, again, just another bonkers thing that sort of upped the ante even further. So I'm going to cover that on another stream. That was a few years ago now. So just to sort of nearly finish it up, is I love making toys, and I love having physical things. My work normally predominantly is 2D or 3D, and it's lovely to make things physical. And so the charity would make sculptures, small figurines out of a lot of the different versions of Gromit, and it was just awesome to be a part of this. But again, I wanted to be as useful as I could. So both with the Gromit GRMT robot one and the stats one, I wanted to do special versions. So both I think I did like, we had editions of 50 that I did like these special graphics, and I would sign them, and they came with like little bundles of things, and they came in special edition boxes. So it was awesome to make special versions of these, just if you can, just to try and make it a bit more unique. If it helps the charity sell a few more, then fantastic. Just trying to offer me services to see if we could do something new and unique, because it's just fun, right? It's just fun to try these things, and to try and make things as special as possible. They all feel so special to me that I just want to capitalize on that, and I don't want to let that emotion go. I want to, I'm not going to try and be cool about it. Oh yeah, sure, this is amazing, this is super amazing, I'm hyped on this. So I want to capitalize that, and if it can help, then absolutely fantastic. That is just a wonderful thing. But I'm showing you everything that happened, but this is really what matters. This right here. So the most incredible thing, the people who kindly paid £29,000 for Stats Away to do it, anonymously donated the sculpture back to the Children's Hospital, where it sat on the 5th floor. Because this is the thing, for all the children that this was helping, a lot of them couldn't get out to see the trail, and they couldn't see the Gromits. But what the amazing couple that bought mine did that and donated the sculpture back to the hospital where it sits, and people can go out and see it. And we had this wonderful sort of ceremony where we officially gave it over. We had a big gold bow over the top of it, and we got to meet some of the children that were there. And I was really nervous. I was really nervous to go into the hospital, and I think I was nervous, and this is the thing, how utterly ridiculous of me to feel nervous when these children are going through all of this. I was nervous about how to act. Would I feel like I need to be glib and to be, hey, how are you? And the second I entered that hospital, I realized that was absolute nonsense, because every kid was bouncing with life. They were just happy. They had energy. They were chatting away. I had the best chats. They were all awesome kids, and it just shows you the strength and the resilience of children. And they were in such a difficult part of their lives that no one wants to be in hospital, of course. And some of these kids were there for a very long time, or have been regular visitors their whole life. But I was absolutely struck with just how strong they were, and it just it inspires you. It gives you strength, because you just think, man, these kids are so good. And all of the staff that are in the hospital supporting that, encouraging that, giving them everything that they need. And so for all of this, the whole Gromit Unleashed project to support this and to make this hospital as good a place as it can be for the children who are there and their sick families just meant so much. And that is just why it is one of the most special, most privileged projects I've ever had the fortune of being a part of. And I will never, ever forget it. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in. I've loved going down memory road, sharing all of this. It's really special. It makes me feel very emotional. I'm very proud to have played a small part in this, and massive love to everyone who's been a part of these projects. I'm going to share more. I'll share Sean in the City at some point. I'll share Gromit Unleashed 2 as well, because they all had their own stories that went into very different areas, and but all with the focus and the aim on helping kids and their families, which is wonderful. You will see a link posted up in the chat, which the Grand Appeal is currently in a bit of a competition with Persimmon Homes, where they are going to be giving up to £100,000 away to the charity that wins. You can vote for your favourite charity, so I've posted the Grand Appeal link in the stream. If you can find it, please do click it and vote. It's, if it can get the charity some extra money for the wonderful work they do, then that is amazing. Big love to you all. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat, for sharing, for watching, for streaming, for subscribing, for following. Really kind of you. I massively appreciate it. I'll be streaming again next week, I think Tuesday and Thursday. Hopefully I might have a special guest with me on Tuesday if I can work out the technology. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you all. Thank you so very much. Have a fantastic bank holiday weekend. Much love to all of you. Thank you for the support. Everything is wonderful. You're all awesome. Bye bye.